Hey everyone, we installed solar panels last year, and at that point I gave a breakdown of the process and a video I made, what we paid, how many panels we have, and how we keep track of the energy generation, as well as how it works in conjunction with the electricity company CFE. It took about 5 months to get them installed, which is about 3 months longer than it normally takes, I believe. But at the end, I was pretty happy with where we stood and optimistic we would receive a good return on investment. We were sold on a 3-year payback. This is the standard sales pitch, though. I mentioned in our video last year that I thought it would be more like a 4 to 4.5 year payback, even with the expectation of energy costs going up about 5% per year. So where do we stand after our first year? I'm going to break it down in this video, but first let me explain the CFE electricity bill because it can be confusing. Every 2 months, we receive our electricity bill. For the electricity itself, the cost per kilowatt hour is broken down into 3 categories: essential, intermediate, and surplus. It can vary a little bit between billing cycles, but generally the first 150 to 300 kilowatt hours are the least expensive and fall under essential. The next 150 to 300 kilowatt hours fall under intermediate and are a little more expensive. And everything after that is in the surplus category and is going to be much more expensive. In the summer, we pay between 1 to 1.5 pesos per kilowatt hour. The other 9 months of the year, we pay between 1 pesos per kilowatt hour for essential, up to about 4 pesos per kilowatt hour for surplus. The other charges you'll have on your bill will be the 16% EVA sales tax plus DOMAP, D-O-M-A-P. The D-O-M-A-P, DOMAP is like public electricity in your neighborhood. For example, the street lights. The DOMAP fee can be as little as 20 pesos, but it's generally 50 to 400 pesos per bill. And your portion of the public lighting is tied to how much personal energy you use. So on your bill, if you use like 400 kilowatt hours in 2 months, then you're going to pay 500 to 700 pesos. Around 400 to 450 for the electricity, plus 60 to 75 in taxes, and then 50 to 150 in DOMAP. But if you double that usage to 800 kilowatt hours in a 2-month billing cycle, then you can expect to pay 3,000 to 3,500 pesos for your electricity. And it continues to go up quickly from there. At our house here, we had 3 meters pre-solar panels, 1 for each apartment. This helped keep our energy costs lower as we split about 1,950 kilowatt hours used per billing cycle between the 3 units. So a little over 600 kilowatt hours, 650 on average per unit. Our total bills for 2 months between the 3 ended up around 3,800 pesos. If we were on 1 meter for the entire property, then we would have been paying around 7,200 pesos on average. So having 3 meters was already helping us pre-solar panels. In our first full 12 months with solar panels, we generated roughly 9,650 kilowatt hours of power. That's 804 kilowatt hours per month, or 1,608 kilowatt hours per billing cycle. As mentioned a few seconds ago, we use about 1,950 kilowatt hours per billing cycle. This means we have to cover out of pocket 350 kilowatt hours more or less. Again, as I mentioned a minute ago, that should give us an electricity invoice of around 500 pesos, maybe even a little bit less. We still have 3 meters here. So we have to pay the maintenance fee on 2 meters, like 82 pesos each, giving us a total of about 700 pesos that we should be paying with the solar panels every 2 months. This would work out to 4,200 pesos per 12 months for electricity and would save us roughly 20,000 pesos per year giving us a 5-year payback on our initial investment. We actually paid almost 14,000 pesos in the last 12 months for electricity. Still almost a 10,000 pesos savings, but that puts us on pace for a 10-year payback. Not so good. Solar panels only have about 10 years of optimal output. After that, what you want is to receive another 15 to 20 years of production, but you're going to have it at 80% output, and it's going to diminish every year of use. I really don't like that 10-year payback timeline. Again, the sales pitch is a 3-year payback. What happened and why are we paying so much for our electricity? For one thing, the company that installed the solar panels made some mistakes in their calculations. The 3-year payback was an impossibility, even if everything went perfectly. The best case scenario was about a 4 to 4.5 year payback. The solar panel company was basing their calculations on if our property only had 1 meter to begin with. Over the past couple weeks, I've been messaging the company as we try to figure this thing out and how to move forward. They told me at one point in their messages that in the first 10 months of this year, they've saved us over 23,000 pesos. We haven't spent 23,000 pesos in any 12-month period over the 5 years that we've lived on this property. So to say without the solar panels that we would have been paying 33,000 pesos in the first 10 months of this year is a little out there. It's just a little concerning that the math is still so bad with them. What I think they meant to say was that if we had 1 meter to begin with for all 3 apartments, then we would have been paying 40,000 pesos a year in electricity. And then the solar panels would be saving us 25,000 pesos a year for a 4-year payback. That would have been a little bit more clear. Another mistake of the solar panel company was that they struggled to balance each meter to the solar panels. So that 2 meters should show no usage, just pay the 82 pesos maintenance fee. And the third meter shows very minimal usage, around the 350 kilowatt hours difference between production and usage. So the solar panel company came out a few days ago and have told me that it's been corrected and future CFE invoices should be in the 500 or 600 pesos range. CFE, the electric company, they use net metering. So whatever we produce with our solar panels is subtracted from what we use. We had 1 meter, I'll call it meter 1, that we were sending the solar panels through, but had no appliances or lighting on the property connected to that meter. This past billing cycle, we used 561 net kilowatt hours on another meter called meter 2 and ended up with an electricity bill of 1,161 pesos. Meter 1 was receiving half of our solar panels without any energy usage. So nothing was canceling it out. And meter 2 was receiving the other half, which wasn't enough to cancel out our 1,100 peso bill. So meter 1, with nothing tied to it, it generated 936 kilowatt hours that could have been used to take that 1,161 peso bill on meter 2 to almost nothing. Plus, it would have given us a bank of 370 kilowatt hours to use during this billing cycle. It may seem confusing because it is. The solar panel company has told me they now have balanced the meters correctly. I want to believe it, but I don't really think this is true, because why did it take 14 months to find the right balance? These are the experts, right? So, however, I am more aware of what to look out for on our bills to make sure we aren't banking large amounts of energy that could be used. And I'm hopeful at some point, either I'll figure out how to make the corrections between our solar panels and the meters myself, or we'll find a happy medium where we don't constantly have to move solar panels from meter to cancel the usage out. We will do whatever we have to do, though, to maximize savings, because the way it's going right now is not really sustainable, in my opinion. And in another year, we'll see where things stand. At this point, I'll be ecstatic if we can get that 10-year payback down to like 6 years. So we'll assess in another year. All right. Thanks for watching. Take care.